Counselor, there's a raccoon stuck in the vending machine.
That's so annoying. I wanted a snack.
Welcome to Trail Mix.
Our mini episodes from Camp Counselors podcast.
Each week, the stories come from you, our Camp Shady Birch campers.
We want to hear your juicy gossip,
Top secret confessions,
embarrassing and scary stories.
and sprinkle in our sage counselor advice.
Trail Mix is for the campers.
And God, do we love ya. Hey, happy campers. Welcome back to Trail Mix.
This is our mini episode where we read listener submitted stories.
Ooh, we have some good ones today. What's going on, everybody? Happy Monday if you're listening on time, or happy whatever time or day you're listening to.
If you hear anything in the background, that's my cat scuttling about. She's being a scuttlebutt today.
Well, she's like the fattest shit in the litter box, and I can smell it from here. And I think, honestly, speaking from experience, if I have a really solid BM, I'm feeling energetic. I'm feeling bouncy. I'm feeling prouncy.
Yeah, she lost like at least 10 pounds in that litter box. She like waited till we were about to start recording and she said, let me give a little gift.
Well, I think too, we just came home from some errands. So I think she probably was sleeping in her cat tree in the sun, and she woke up, her bowels were ready, and so was she. Cats are so weird because I feel like they're on such a different schedule, especially Buffy. Like, she truly is a nocturnal bad bitch.
Yeah, but maybe not even nocturnal. She'll be up at early hours in the morning, but then she'll just sleep the rest of the time. But I feel like everybody says like, my cat's not like other cats, but this cat is not like other cats.
Well, first of all, she has hip dysplasia that's been self-diagnosed by Jonathan.
It has not been self-diagnosed by Jonathan. She went to a veterinarian with an MD. Okay.
I love that when she lays down, she doesn't like gracefully lay down. She goes from a standing position and just tilts sideways and drops to the bottom, and then she goes, boo,
Yeah, a little.
boo. And that's how anytime she jumps, anytime she moves, boo. I'm like, girl, are you good? Like, she needs to figure out that. I don't know what's going on with her.
Any little sense of breath that's in her airway comes shooting out. She goes, "Woof." Or when she jumps down from something, or she like jumps off one stair, she's like, "Woof."
She's been so cute this week. I've been calling her Oreo when she's being good. And as a lot of you know, I really do not like the name Oreo for an animal. I just think that we all could be, as a nation, as a world, as a global climate, a little bit more creative when it comes to naming a black and white animal.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like the easy way out. But I've been calling her Oreo as a joke, but not me liking it now. Like, when she's being cute to me, I'm like, Oreo, you're being so sweet. And when she's just being her normal crazy self, I'm like, that's Buffy behavior.
It is Buffy behavior. You really have been giving her that nickname. What else do we call her? Miss Mary Moo Cow.
Buffina. Josh calls her Buffalo, which I love.
Which I never thought to call her that, but when she comes down those stairs, is a water buffalo.
Yeah, it's definitely giving Alex McCord.
It is Alex McCord behavior, but she also has these habits that she switches up. She has a cat tree, and she always just lays on the top deck on the roof, if you will.
Deck 15.
Exactly, deck 15. But there's like 4 different floors to it. And she recently discovered, mind you, we've had this for like over a year. She recently discovered the terrace, which she seems to like. And she doesn't really like the little box. It's like the boxed-in area.
Yeah, it's the promenade.
That's what it is. It's the promenade. And she's been loving it. She loves to huff shoes, which is crazy.
Yeah, like, you know, when like kids huff spray paint, Buffy puts her face directly in a shoe that's been walked in for about 3 miles, and she inhales. She's dirty like that.
And anytime we have new company over, I'm like, I'm so sorry. This is just like what she does. When they take their shoes off, she'll put her full face into it, and you can see her lungs expanding like a fucking bag of popcorn. She's like,
yeah,
and
she's
like,
got to experience a new flavor.
Oh my God, if it's raining out and the shoes are a little bit wet, she's in there.
Yeah,
she is in there.
For that. You know what I like that she does with you specifically, with nobody else, because you're Papa. She'll come up on the couch and she'll ride your thigh like a horse, like throws one leg over like a saddle and just straddles your thigh while you sit on the couch, and she'll just watch TV with you.
She lays in the most uncomfortable position she can put herself in just so she can be like leaning on me. Her back legs will be standing up and she'll just curl up the front of it. It's cute. I know. I love her. She's a very special cat. She's special in my heart. She's just a weirdo.
I took the funniest picture of her last night. Then I know people are like, oh, this is a funny picture of my animal. No, because what I do is I select it. If you hold it down, if you hold the picture down on the iPhone camera roll, you can like it'll like make a sticker of like whatever's in the foreground. And she had this like weird like I don't know positioning in the picture, so I made it a sticker, and then I went into Instagram on my stories and put a bar top background, and then it made it look like she was leaning into the bar top, and then I added a martini sticker and a can of cat food, and she just looks like she's like ready for another drink.
So funny.
Or I also put her on a judge's pulpit. And
Yeah.
I said, court is in session. Judge Buffy's on the crime.
So funny. Also, I just learned that when you're texting people, you can drag and drop emojis. And I was shocked last night. I accidentally sent you, I don't know why I sent you the hospital. I didn't mean to send it to you. And you were like, are you okay? Because I was upstairs.
Well, that's a weird emoji to send by itself.
Well, I was going to try to put like a screaming monkey outside of it, but I couldn't figure out how to do it. I was dragging and dropping. It wasn't working. You guys, you can drag and drop emojis into a text message. And Zach goes, we've already been doing that for a year in my group chat. I'm like, well, I just found out.
What was the motivation of putting monkeys screaming outside of a hospital? Like, what was your thought process there?
Not much. Just being creative. My creative juices were flowing.
Okay.
I also accidentally sent the hospital, so it's just going with the storyline there.
All right. Well, on that note, let's get into today's trail mix, campers. We have a lot of great stories from you. A ton of emails as always. So thank you so much for sending them in. If you want to be a part of the show for any of our segments, you can write your story in to campcounselorspod@gmail.com, or you can go right to campcounselorspodcast.com, go to the write-in tab, also explore the website a little bit. Jonathan's put a lot of time into it, and it's really funny. A lot of clever little nooks and crannies truly of that cabin online.
Tons of nooks and crannies.
So do you want to talk about your stories?
I've got a story about a cheeky visit to the airport.
Oh, I have a story about an embarrassed camper with her jar of roasted red peppers.
A snake story that will really rattle your yabbos.
Oh, and then I have a camper who tried to see a 311 concert but instead got arrested. That's just really what happened. So
let's get into it.
This is a really big secret. Thank God we're on a body of water. This is Confession Canoe. Welcome back to Confession Canoe, campers. This is the part of the show where you just get something off your chest. These are things that you told yourself you were going to take to the grave, but then this little show came along and you said, wait a minute, I found my people. I found my freaky deekies. And we always keep it anonymous, but I'd be so excited if I wrote into a podcast and they read my story.
Gassed.
I love my story. So I have two back-to-back. So strap in for the vocal stylings of Zachariah Porter for a hot minute, and then Jonathan will wrap up the show. So my first story starts off, hey, counselors. First, I'm a new listener and I've been binging all episodes. I'm a new mom and your podcast has me cackling when I'm home alone with the baby.
Yes, strong mama.
Strong mama. Hope you're eating plenty of subs with deli meats.
Yeah.
And sushi and beer and wine. Just pump and dump, or don't. No, I'm joking. Let's go back to 2007. I'm in middle school, and despite my mom struggling financially, she still managed to re-up my subscriptions to the Middle School Millennium Bible, 17 magazine. I never got 17 magazine, but I love the cultural phenomenon that it represents. Especially in 2007, it was still like really popping at the moment.
I always got Disney Adventure magazine, the small one. Do you
what
remember
were those about?
Just literally anything. I think they came every 2 weeks.
What, Peter Pan goes to the mall? Like, what's happening?
No, it was a lot of Disney Channel, a lot of like Harry Potter. They did have like Warner Brothers stuff that was in there. I remember first time I saw, for some reason, when we were at Diagon Alley, I was like, the first time I ever saw that outside of that building was in a sneak peek in Disney Adventure magazine. I remember it to this very day. But this isn't about me or Disney Adventure. This is about 17 magazine.
Well, I'm bringing it back to myself here. Okay. I got Entertainment Weekly. That was my big one.
Okay.
Is that weird?
No, it's not weird. It's just not, I don't know, maybe, how old were you?
I was very young. I was like 13.
Okay.
I was just really always into TV.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so into like the NBC lineup when I was a kid it was very like The Office, Parks and Recreation. I loved and they always had like specialty covers. I loved to see what movies were coming out. And then my first job was a movie theater. So, but that doesn't really feel like a teen magazine, does it?
No, it doesn't. But that was your teen magazine.
It was.
And we respect it.
This is a true teen magazine for our camper. So she goes on, in every issue, there was a section of at-home workouts to, of course, contribute to the heroin chic era. So your girlie was doing ab workouts every night in her room before bed. That is so true. It was really heroin chic back then.
That's sad.
Side note, why I thought I needed to do these, I have no idea. I would die for my 7th grade body. LOL, but I digress.
No, strong mama. We thank our body for providing us with the child that we have.
So true, but we'll never be as skinny as we were then.
Stop it.
Listen, I'm not perfect. I'm a little toxic. I agree with your sentiment, but also I'm acknowledging that was funny.
I saw a tweet that was like, stop taking Ozempic and just do cocaine like an adult. I was like, don't.
Bring it back to the 80s, y'all. One day I was home alone and a tip in the magazine gave me was to use canned goods as weights.
Smart.
If you didn't have dumbbells. I used that with jugs of water bottles.
Oh, that's smart.
Yeah, because my mom always had those. I think they were for fish tanks. I'm like, where were the fish, Mom? What were the water bottles doing in there, Mom? I'm not even sure. I went into the pantry and found a jar of red roasted peppers and marched into the living room to get a killer arm workout with this jar that was probably half a pound. When I was finished, I went on about my day and forgot I left the jars of peppers sitting in the middle of the living room. For some reason, I have no idea, maybe just anxious girly thoughts, I didn't want anyone to know I was working out and was embarrassed I was using this jar of peppers. So when my mom came home and asked why there were roasted red peppers sitting on the living room floor, I froze and just shrugged. I don't know. You didn't put them there? Nope.
Not gaslighting.
Yeah, not her gaslighting her mother into believing there's roasted red peppers on the floor because of her. Also, a really weird pantry item in general.
Yeah.
What are people doing with roasted red peppers?
Well, maybe it was in one of the taller bottles and it was easier for hands to grab.
That was the sign from the Lord. That was the truth.
That was actually Sandwich driving by on his Harley.
I was picturing that because it's 2007, a big part of the aesthetic back then was those tall balls of olive oil and garlic and red pepper.
Where are they now?
So there's a restaurant in Dartmouth where I grew up, and it's a breakfast place. It's on Fonts Corner Road. If you're from there, you know. I forgot what it's called. They still have them. And at some point, the red does discolor into like some sort of peachy burnt orange, and I just know that was not the intended color. I feel like, who remembers Pier 1 Imports?
Oh, I loved Pier 1 Imports.
Me too. There was never a better place to get your mom something for the holidays.
For real. I had one of these, I don't even know what you would call it. They called it a Chinese yo-yo is what it was sold as, and it was like a long
That seems like a
ribbon.
microaggression.
It kind of, honestly, it looked like this. It looked like, oh, this is covered in cat hair. It looks like a lint roller, and you would go like this and it would shoot out and then it would spiral back.
That's really interesting because most of the store was home goods and mugs.
It was at the cash wrap, and I said, I want that.
You said, Mom, I'll see you by the toys. She's like, what toys? Those are salt and pepper shakers. Okay, so for background, we had a suspicion that our house was haunted because it was very old and other noises we would hear. So this led my mom to believe that her sweet 13-year-old daughter was not lying, but in fact, the ghost in our house placed this jar of peppers in the middle of the living room. That's like the natural progression. If your daughter says no, it's got to be the ghost. That's what we've learned here, campers.
You've got to believe the teens.
To this day, I have heard my mom tell other stories of our house being haunted to other people, and she'll even throw in, and remember that time the peppers were on the floor? It was the freakiest thing. I'm going to take that for a mom video because I feel like moms do think things are freaky.
That is
so freaky.
So funny because she's probably told so many people that scary, disturbing, haunted ass story, but it was really just you and 17 magazine.
She goes, and I just nod and say, yes, I remember. Counselors, this is the first time I'm telling this story and I'm cracking myself up. Sincerely, the camper reading 17 magazine in cabin 3. All right, girls. So cabin 3 has now been named our literary cabin. This camper stepped up and she's going to do our magazine haul. So if you need some good reading, head on to this camper in cabin 3.
Can you imagine if we had a Camp Shady Birch magazine?
Well, you just bought a magazine.
Did I?
Yeah.
Oh my God, I did. Yeah.
Prince dead. Jonathan's the only one sporting it.
Yeah. It was, what is it? Oh, Cosmo. I read quite the harrowing tale while I was on the flight. I was like, this is so, I couldn't believe they published it.
Well, I feel like the natural progression from 17 magazine is Cosmo. Like that pipeline makes complete sense to me.
But I didn't think the sex stories were going to be so in your face, vibrant, and really spelled out for you.
Well, they have to compete.
Oh.
But I will say you spent $5 at the airport for that magazine.
Hudson News.
You really got your money's worth. You were thumbing through. You read multiple articles. It was, correct me if I'm wrong, it was Caliucci's on the cover?
Correct. Yeah, that's why I bought it.
And the lighting of that photography was incredible. So they're still doing a great job. I just don't think people read anymore.
Yeah, and I don't love like the deals page where it's just like, here are the products you need. I feel like it's just, I know, I think it's so evident to everybody that it's all paid for, and none of it really relates to me personally, and maybe that's why I'm not into it.
Did you see any roasted red peppers in jars on the deals page?
No, and now that I think about it, if it was a workout, like an at-home workout thing, I probably really skimmed past it real quick. So maybe I'll go back and see if they have that suggestion.
I love that. Well, thank you for writing in, Camper. I have one more. Can I just go into the next one?
Go for it.
Hi, counselors. I have a concert jail story.
Please.
I'm obsessed. I grew up in Mansfield, Massachusetts, which has the Xfinity Center. I've been there multiple times, Camper. I know exactly what you're talking about. This is where I saw Lana Del Rey in 2014. The Xfinity Center was also called the Comcast Center, Great Woods, Tweeter Center, whatever people call it nowadays. And I'm going to read that. I know that doesn't make sense for a lot of people, but like if you're from our area, it's had like 17 rebrands. So you can tell how old somebody is based on what they call the venue. Like my parents will still call it the Tweeter Center.
Whatever happened to Tweeter?
Do you know what that is? What is that?
We had a Tweeter Center. I think it was like TVs, like tellies, and like almost like a Best Buy. I could be absolutely wrong about that, but I don't know.
Your guess is as good as mine. I don't know either.
I don't have a really great guess.
So she said, my parents would go to concerts there when they were younger. Our school band had a concert there, and we even walked across the stage our graduation there. Xfinity Center was a big part of my life in Mansfield. I'm assuming she's from Mansfield. My dad has always told me about the garden backstage. There's gardens backstage, wow. And also about the paddy wagon, which I assumed was a big wooden ass wagon like the ones you'd see during hay rides. That's important. That's not what a paddy wagon is, but I could see that natural thought process there. During concert season, all of my friends and I would get our tickets ahead of time and start to plan. Where are we pre-gaming? Who's driving? Who's buying the alcohol? Who's sneaking the weed in? Me, because I have big boobs. The big boob girl always is sneaking the weed in.
Always.
Looking at you, Kira. Me and Kira went to a concert at Xfinity Center. So she was at the Lana Del Rey concert, and she probably put weed in. You know why you can smoke weed there? Because it's half outdoor. Like the lawn seats are in the back and those are outdoor.
Yeah.
So all the really important details that are there. So summer 2012 was lining up to be a great summer. Lil Wayne, Drake, and 311 were some of the artists, just to name a few. Our big group of friends were pre-gaming the 311 concert at one of my friend's parents' house, who conveniently had just got divorced, and the mom was spending the weekend at her new boyfriend's house. It's like, that's a really sad like detail for the mom, but like as a teenager looking for a place to drink and not get in trouble, like that is the perfect setup.
Yeah.
Mom's got a new boyfriend. She's visiting him in Plainfield and we're going to hang out.
Yeah, we're healing our inner child.
Me and two of my friends, let's call them Carly and Maddie. Callie and Maddie. Do you campers have fun making up fake names? I feel like y'all really enjoy that.
Yeah. Sometimes it has something to do with like maybe this is a TV show. I feel like a lot of the ones that I get that I'm reading are like from TV shows.
Well, it's funny because there's another person in the story that comes up, and at one point she messed up and put the real name in there, and I was like, oh, I know who this is now. Had acquired a whole handle of Captain Morgan. They all did. So our brilliant plan was to drink the whole thing. Foul. And counselors, we did it. The last thing I clearly remember is Callie smashing her mini bowl on the tile and us weeping over it on the floor. The bowl's name was Chode. Such a classic name.
Everybody always names their bowls.
Chode. Yeah, but I had a bowl that we called the Chode bowl because it was fat and thick.
Love that. Classic. Mine's Peter Pan because it's like green and he takes me to Neverland.
Oh my God, that's clever.
It's literally my first bowl. I still have it. Don't use it, but I still got it.
Okay, well, they said we must persist.
As you do.
We loaded into our friend's ugly ass bread box Honda Element. First of all, just being shady to be shady. And started for the concert. So like someone else picked them up. Us being locals, we don't park at the parking lot. We park at Rick's, name change, parents' house down the street for the venue and start to walk. I love when you like have the inns in your local. I put walk, but really it was just the three of us crawling, barely alive. Where was Callie and Maddie? I have no idea. I lost them on the walk over. We get to the gates and I scan my ticket in. Next checkpoint, security. I open my bags and the security lady starts poking around a little too much. She pulls out my bowl, which I forgot I had probably due to Carly's bowl breaking on the floor. My friend Jackson, who I was with, was waiting for me and he gives me the look. I thought, hey, no big deal. She didn't find the weed. Wrong. She gives me this Karen grin as if it were her Christmas morning.
Oh, she's just looking for something to do.
I think, no, not my perfect concert summer. I'm stumbling over my words, but the best I can come up with is, don't be a fucking bitch.
No, just keep your mouth shut. Listen, hey, we've all been there. We're young, we're dumb, and we're full of Captain Morgan.
Yeah, they split a handle of Captain Morgan.
Crazy.
Jackson gasped. I gasped. The lady put up her hands. A cop comes over and leads me away. I'm being brought to the paddy wagon, which in fact is not an actual wagon. It's a big gated area with a bunch of dangerous and angry men. So the cops sat me down on a bench and I waited patiently. I actually thought that after they realized I was in fact not a danger to anyone or myself, I could leave and go see all my friends and have the most iconic 2012 night ever. Then the big pearly gates open, the big wooden ones. In comes a golf cart. On the back of the golf cart, guess who it is? You guessed it. Callie and Maddie, handcuffed together, crying and screaming.
How did they get there?
First of all, why are they screaming?
You guys are clearly... Everyone's just feral.
There's like drunk men, crying teenage girls. Everyone's screaming. Everyone's chained up in this open pen of human sadness.
The paddy wagon is not a place I want to be.
They see me, I duck, they scream and point at me. We're with her. The cops come over, you with them. One single tear starts coming down my cheek. My 311 summer dream was over. They handcuff me to the railing and tell me to call my parents.
Oh my God.
For some reason, I didn't call them. But then I get a call. It's my mom. Are you with Maddie? I respond, yes. What's happening? Waterworks ensue. I can't breathe. I can't talk. My mom explains to me that Maddie called her claiming my mom was her legal guardian.
Oh.
And she already talked to the cops. Fuck you, Maddie. That's crazy.
Yeah. She's like, I'm not taking one for this. Your mom's going to handle this.
She was on her way to pick us up. They handcuffed the three of us together like some weird spider web.
Everybody starts running them in different directions too.
They're just getting really creative and having fun with the handcuffs, these cops. This is nuts. One by one, they call us up, unhandcuff us, and body search us. Took our names and pictures. Me, being just so sneaky, they asked me if I had any drugs on me. I said in my little cop-pleasing, please don't send me to prison. Yes, officer, I have marijuana in my right breast. They let me take it out, and that was the end of the search. We waited for my mom and cried some more. Like, what else can you do? All you can do is just sit there and cry. Like, I get it. I would be crying too. After my mom picked us up, she, to my astonishment, wasn't mad at all. She was laughing. Her and my dad thought it was the funniest thing. I got to see the paddy wagon and laughed even harder when I told them, it's not even a wagon. After we were in the comfort of my own home with Maddie, Callie was another story. Her mom probably whooped her ass. And after we had calmed down enough to recount what had happened, I reached down my left boob and pulled out a fat bag of weed.
Hey.
I had kept it safe in secret the whole time. It was the funniest concert I ever went to. Technically, you didn't go, but I love
that
that.
You never went to.
P.S. This actually happened again that summer, and I missed Drake. That was horrible. I cried in my friend's arms that night saying, I didn't even get to see the motto.
But we didn't learn from the previous time.
She said, still not over that one. P.P.S.
Oh my God.
Me and my friends love y'all so much. Our favorite days are Mondays and Wednesdays. Love always. The Drunk Drug Smuggler and Cabin 420.
Y'all are crazy.
Well, they were kids. And like, I love, there was some parts I like, we had to cut out a little bit because it was long. But there's this like overarching like theme in this story where she believes that she's a local queen so that she can just get away with the local behavior. But girl, like you can't because you're from Mansfield doesn't mean you can take drugs into the Xfinity Center. But she's like, whatever.
You're like, no, I live around the block. Like I walk.
Yeah, I literally know Rick. I like, what's up? And they're like, girl, look at me in both eyes because one's going left.
He's like, no, I knew this when it was the Tweeter Center. I'm
obsessed with Callie and Maddie on the back of a golf cart crying and screaming arrested. Like all three of your friends are arrested.
In college, before I was an RA, we had the RAs come. They did like a big crackdown like towards the end of my freshman year. And they came in and obviously there was nefarious doings happening in the room we were in. And there was like maybe 10 of us. It was a big apartment. There was 2 different bedrooms. It was a lot. And they made us stand against the wall with our hands behind our backs. Oof. It wasn't the cops. It was just the RAs, but they did a search. And the 2 RAs split up into each one of the bedrooms. And my friend, there was a bong on the table that they missed. My friend, as soon as they walk out of the room, darts to the bone, grabs it, puts it in the refrigerator, makes it back just in time.
Genius.
Got away with it.
Oh my God, that's so smart.
So smart. They don't search the fridge.
No, actually they should, because people do keep drugs in the fridge.
Yeah, but we got away with it.
I love the song Amber by 311, and I will say, Camper, amber is not the color of your energy with that story. It's giving fire red, maybe even neon yellow. I'm not even sure, but I love you.
This episode of Camp Counselors is sponsored by BetterHelp. Campers, let's check in with ourselves right now. How is our social battery?
Look in the mirror. Are you drained? Are you just doing too much?
You know, as your counselors, our batteries have to be fully charged and on the go to keep this camp and our social lives in balance.
Personally, I think it's really easy to ignore our social battery. We want to say yes to everything, and we have this incredible fear of FOMO. Seriously, everybody needs time to socialize, and they need time to recharge. Therapy can give you the self-awareness to build a social life that doesn't drain your battery.
If you're thinking of starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online, designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. Just fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist and switch therapists at any time for no additional charge.
Find your social sweet spot with BetterHelp. Visit betterhelp.com/camp today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/camp.
So, what's it like to be the mom of 4 little girls and the wife of an NFL quarterback? Well, it's absolute insanity in the best possible way. But you can hear that for yourself when you listen to my podcast, The Morning After, with me, Kelly Stafford. And yes, Matthew joins sometimes too. It's parenting, it's marriage, it's friendships, and it's football. It's our life. So, check out The Morning After with me, Kelly Stafford, at Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, or wherever you listen to your podcast.
Scary stories around the campfire. Welcome back to Scary Stories Around the Campfire. This is the part of the show where we read scary stories, either an embarrassing story or a actually scary story. So if you've got one, send it on in. I've got 2 for you today. What a treat. What a scary little treat.
To the ghosts of the red peppers.
Dear sweet Counselor Jonathan and Counselor Zachariah, I've wanted to write into you both for a year with hundreds of comments, squeals, and laughs in response to your 5-star podcast variety show. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I love you both so much, and you've brought an abundance of laughter and light to me and my morning routine. My scary story goes back a handful of years and takes place at the Milwaukee airport on my way to visit my sister in Boston. My family and I were flying out at different times from different airports, and my flight was full. My seat got bumped. I was pissed. This is literally like that story that you just told where the guy took a picture of somebody else's ticket to get on a Delta flight.
Ugh, that sucks.
Because I got bumped from my flight, I had hours to kill until my next one. So I wandered around aimlessly until my new flight to Boston boarded. I was not dressed appropriately for Airbus travel. Thinking back, it was summer. I had on a t-shirt tucked into a shorter, flowy miniskirt and sandals. I mean, it tracks. I was in my early 20s.
It's not a terrible outfit for the airport.
No, but she is rethinking it, and I'll explain why. After emerging from one of the airport bathrooms at one point of my aimless wander, I headed to my gate that was situated near a restaurant/bar. It is important to note that I don't think it was a Chili's.
Oh, so it's not a Chili's.
It's not a Chili's.
Oh, well, it would have been better if it was a Chili's.
While I'm standing around my gate and on my phone hours before my flight, an airport worker comes up to me and notifies me that my skirt was tucked into my thong underwear, bringing attention to my bare, naked ass facing a restaurant full of men staring at me.
Oh my God, no.
It was a good 10 minutes of me walking around like this.
Shifting weight from the left leg to the right leg, maybe like scratching the back of the head, just full cheeked out.
I've never worn a skirt in public. So I can imagine there would be a breeze, but there would be a breeze anyway. You just feel like you're in your underwear.
Yeah, because it's a thong, so there's no coverage. Your cheeks are just like shaking it, body yaddy 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 out in the airport, and you're just, literally. What are you doing? She's like at the Hudson looking at snow caps. She's like, oh look, a new Cosmo.
Everybody's like, girl, we can see it. We can see your third eye. Needless to say, my gayness was solidified that day, knowing that this woman was the only one to have my back side. my backside, in front of this eatery full of grown men. Spooky as fuck, if you ask me. This is all to say, let this be a word of advice to all traveling campers out there. Unless you knowingly and consciously select assless chaps for your leisure travels, make sure your ass is in check before exiting an airport bathroom and returning to the masses of covered asses that mill around the Milwaukee airport. Wow, that was poetic. Signed, Ass Out in Cabin 69.
I think it's so funny that not even just the people at the restaurant, but everyone walking by.
Yeah.
So many people saw it.
And yeah, no, they were texting their friends like, you won't believe this girl. But you know what? It's in the past. It's behind you. Like your ass.
You know when you're like walking in the airport too and you're kind of just like looking around at everything. I could just like, I'm just picturing the moseying.
It's a mosey.
It's a
She's
mosey.
got nothing but time to kill. All right, so let's get into my second story.
Okay. Another scary story.
This one's scary. This is not a minute. This is scary.
Oh, we're going to end on a real spooky note.
Yeah. Hi, counselors. I want to start off by saying I am part of the straight men who listen to you and will not be silenced. I've been saying it for years. Straight men need to stop being silenced.
Well, thank you for being straight and listening to our show. We're really reaching a wider audience than we even thought we could. We're casting in it and the fish are coming in. So we welcome you. Thank you for being here.
Thanks, ally. My girlfriend has listened since day one and showed me about 10 episodes in, and it's been the highlight of our week ever since. Oh, wow. So like been here since episode 10.
Oh, thank you.
We're among the campers in Cabin 5, and we love all the Patreon content. Yes. Patreon.com/campcounselors if you want extra content. Okay, so now that I'm done motorboating your yabbos, let me get into the spooky story.
Don't stop.
So I was about 11 years old, and my older brother was 20 years old. And we were exploring some mountains behind my school where people were not meant to be. No trespassing signs, gated off, you get the idea. Mm-hmm. Anyway, toward the top of the mountain, there were houses that were gated off. We were trying to be as sneaky as possible as to not get caught, and we were moving quietly and keeping our head down. Everything was going according to plan until a dog spotted us and started sounding off all the alarms. We immediately decided to head down a little bit of a hill and found what we thought was the perfect hiding spot. There were a few tall bushes that made a perfect circle around a tiny dirt patch where we could both squat down until the dog calmed down. No more than 20 seconds after we sat down, my brother flinched and said, "Did you hear that?" I heard nothing, so I said no, but he swore he heard a rattling sound. We live in Southern California, home to many rattlesnakes, but at this point in my life, we had never actually seen one. But then I heard it, the sound of a rattle right in front of me.
What does that even sound like? Like a rattle, obviously. That was a stupid question. But I'm like, there's a difference between hearing it on like a computer speaker versus like...
Yeah, exactly. Very much that. And if you hear it, I feel like you know it. I got so scared, I instinctively tried to grab onto my brother, but accidentally pushed him down into the bush. Right next to where he landed was a rattlesnake. And another. And another. Then we were hit by the devastating realization that we were hiding in a rattlesnake den.
What is this, Indiana Jones?
Might as well be. I immediately start crying as a 12-year-old would in this scenario, and it was up to my 20-year-old big brother to save the day. It was too steep of a mountain to walk down because we would have ended up tumbling down the rest of the way, which definitely would have broken multiple bones.
And it's night.
So they're like, is it night?
Yes. They're sneaking around.
Yeah. So they're in between like the mountain. So they're like, we were going to go down, but we got to go back up this mountain.
That's how mountains work, correct?
It is. Shut up. My brother turns to me and tells me to jump on his back. Once I was on, he picked up a large rock and told me to hold tight. He chucked the rock and immediately started trudging up the mountain. As I said before, it was extremely steep, but my brother had gained some sort of superhuman strength and ran up at lightning speed. When we made it to the top, where all the houses were, we jumped someone's fence and ran through their backyard to get to the street and finally feel safe. We did this quickly thanks to our adrenaline. Once we made it to the street, my brother and I sat down on a curb to catch our breath. I was perfectly fine, just a little shook up, and my brother gripped his leg in pain. It was only when he pulled up his pant leg that we noticed the bleeding. He thought that the pain had been scratches from falling, then running through all the bushes, but no, he had been bitten.
No.
Obviously, I thought he was going to die at any moment, so I was in full freak out panic mode. Somehow, he was the one keeping the cool and trying to keep me calm. Like, he's like, I literally got bit by a rattlesnake and you're freaking out.
Well, he's 20, his little brother's 12. He's probably stressed out because he's like, wait, I put my brother in danger, and you're an adult.
Yeah, probably did, like, the realization is hitting.
And the adrenaline, it was in full effect. Thank God for that, right?
Well, he never did get it checked out, but luckily he never died.
He never went to the hospital?
Evidently not. To this day, I'm scarred by rattlesnakes.
Well,
and
so
this
is he.
has to be, yeah, obvious, literally. I'm scarred by rattlesnakes, and this has to be one of the closest times I ever came to dying. Signed, the Straight in Cabin 8. Campers, let me just give you a note real quick from healthline.com. Seek help within a half an hour of a rattlesnake bite. If left untreated, it can lead to organ failure and death in 2 to 3 days. The venom from the majority of rattlesnake bites will damage tissue and affect your circulatory system by destroying skin tissue and blood cells and causing you to hemorrhage internally. So just a little side note there. I feel like legally we should put on the books to, if you get bit, get it checked out. But thank God he didn't die and y'all were safe. No trespassing. Read the sign.
You know what's crazy too? It's like growing up, everyone hears about rattlesnakes. Like they probably have the best PR of all the snakes. I can't think of a more popular snake.
Oh, a cobra, a king cobra.
Yeah, but I'm thinking like a national. National. Like what's the one that has the red stripe?
A gardener snake.
No, there's like one that's like.
Oh, the red stripe snake.
That's just the words of what I said and put them together, and I appreciate you. But the rattlesnake really has like a level of prestige, you know what I mean? But growing up on the East Coast, I'm never going to see one. So the fact that you've lived amongst these hellions and encountered one in real life, that's really scary. My sister lived in Arizona for a while, and she almost got attacked by a scorpion.
Oh my God, I forgot about scorpions. Those scary little poison crabs.
And both of them are really fast.
That's what they are. Spicy crabs. That's what a scorpion is. It's a spicy crab.
Yeah, it's a land crab with a bad attitude.
Truly.
Yeah, and it's like, let's be honest for a minute here. What are rattlesnakes contributing to society? Let's gaslight the rattlesnake for a minute. What are you doing? What are you contributing to? Because all I know is you're causing pain and suffering for not only our campers, brother, but also all the flora and fauna around you. I'm talking bunnies, I'm talking opossums, I'm talking foxes. You're just hurting people. So maybe it's time for the rattlesnake community to reflect on their bullshittery.
Yeah, the behavior at the very least. We'd like a written apology from the rattlesnakes around the world. Starting with our exes. I'm just kidding. Okay, these are great stories. Thank you guys for writing in. This has been fun.
Totally. It's a fully rounded episode, from ass out at the airport to bitten by snakes to jail time and workouts with roasted red peppers. You don't know what you're going to get on a Monday here, but it's always fun.
Thank you so much for listening. If you haven't already, give us 5 stars and a review. Suggest this to a friend, or when they get in the car, you grab that aux cord and you play it so they don't have a choice.
Just don't share this podcast with any rattlesnakes.
Don't.
We don't fuck with them. And on that note, lights out, campers.